What is up, all you worship peoples? Thank you so much for joining me. I'm MydNyte, and I love equipping worship leaders with helpful and encouraging content. And in this video, I am ditching the acoustic guitar to give you 5 things that I do every Sunday to make sure worship is well executed. Let's get into it. If you're new here, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If these videos are helping you, which is the goal, why don't you give them a like and maybe even subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss future worship tutorials. Alright, so let's get right into it. These are 5 things that I consider to be very important to Sundays running smoothly for me. Habits, really, that I have developed over the, 2 decades now that I have been leading worship. Things that I've learned the hard way. I did just do a video of my top 5 tips for vocal health, so there's going to be a little bit of overlap with that video. If you haven't seen that one, click up above or down below to check that out. But let's get into this list. Number 1. Arriving early. One of the best things that you can do as the leader, as the worship leader, is getting to church crazy early. Be the first one there every single time. It just helps you to have your wits about you, to make sure that you have everything ready for your band to show up and to start practicing or playing. I learned this the hard way when I first started leading worship in Miami. I was the head worship leader. I mean, God only knows why they made me that, because I was like 21 years old. But I remember the old worship leader was still there, on staff as a pastor. And the rehearsal, I think, for a Wednesday night church service was about to begin, and I was running crazy late. And he calls me and says, "Hey man, half of your band is already here, and they're kind of complaining that you're not here yet. They don't know what to do and what to practice, and they're kind of frustrated." That was like the first and last time I was ever late to a rehearsal. I was like, I'm never going to let this happen again. Now I get to church probably about an hour or about 45 minutes before the band does. We start rehearsals on Sunday morning at 6:30 a.m. I am there about at 5:45 a.m. That's when I'm there. I'm doing multiple things, making sure that ProPresenter is good to go. I've already preloaded the songs the week prior, making sure that the tracks are good to go, which I already loaded the tracks the week prior as well. But just double checking these things, double checking the stage. The stage also is something that I had set up the week prior. All you guys that have mobile church setups are like rolling your eyes right now, because you're like, oh, good for you. You have a church that's permanent. You can just leave your instrument set up. So I feel you. I've been a part of that process as well. Don't worry. I know what that's like. But, there are many things that you can get set up beforehand. ProPresenter, that's on a computer. So you can have that ready to go before Sunday. Tracks, for me, I run tracks off of an iPad. You can get that ready to go before Sunday. But anyways, I'm getting into pregame stuff. I'm actually thinking of making a video about the week leading up to Sunday and all that I prepare for in that sense. But anyway, so I'm just double checking everything, making sure that the stage is good to go, the instruments are in place, everyone has what they need. I am also reviewing the devotion that I'm going to share with the band. I'm kind of giving a little clue as to a future tip here in this video. But anyway, so I'm kind of reviewing that and getting my guitar set up, getting my ears out, getting my water out. My water is very important to me. And making sure I have all my stuff together so that I can deal with other people's stuff when they show up. My guitar is tuned and my ears are ready to go, and I got everything I need to start rehearsal right away. That way, any other problems come, they're not going to be mine. You do not want to add to the list of things to fix on a Sunday morning. You don't want to be one of those things. So do everything you can to avoid that. And then you can be a resource to other people if you have, your stuff together. If you're there on time, if you know what's happening, you can actually lead. If you show up frantically like 5 minutes before rehearsal starts, I'm sorry, but that's not leadership, and it's going to throw you off and put you into a chaotic situation, one where you are upside down, you don't know what's going on, and you really can't lead in confidence coming from that place. Or in order to lead from confidence, you have to have your wits about you. You have to have your head on straight, and to have your head on straight, you got to get there early. Number 2, vocal warm-ups. This is a little bit of an overlap from my 5 vocal tips video, but again, something that is definitely in my top 5 most crucial things for having a good Sunday is making sure I warm up my voice. Like I said in the vocal tips video, I won't get as into it in this video as I did in that video, but make sure that you are warming up your voice. Look up some YouTube videos if you don't know how to do that. I'm sure there are a plethora of vocal warm-up videos. Make sure you know how to do some warm-ups and that you are doing them on your way to church or before you start practice and rehearsal at some point, because that is extremely important to the health and strength of your voice day of, but also just the longevity of your voice over years, over decades. And you want your voice to last. You know, you want to be able to sing for a long, long time, and warming up your voice is definitely a huge part of that process. So that is number 2. Number 3, band devotions. I've always tried to put an emphasis on making sure that I have devotions with my team each Sunday morning, but over the past couple of years I've made it even more of a priority, to the point where it's one of my to-do items during the week leading up to Sunday. So Thursdays, I have a to-do every single Thursday to put together a devotion for my team. That usually takes about an hour, and I usually pull from my personal devotions. And you know, that's another thing. If you're not spending time with the Lord, it's going to be hard to lead your team spiritually, so make sure that you're getting that in. But again, that's another pre-game thing. But band devotions has become such a crucial thing in my opinion, because it really helps to get the band in a spiritual state. You know, when you're hanging out back in the green room, it's fun to talk about the latest, you know, Netflix shows that you're binging. But at some point, you have to get their minds in the right place, get their hearts in the right place. And the best way that you can do that is, you know, give it a short little encouragement, preferably around something that is scripture based. That's just become such a crucial part of my Sundays, is you know, just getting my band in the right place spiritually before we go lead other people spiritually, if you know what I mean. So that is number 3, band devotions. Number 4, it's kind of a silly one, but nourishment. Whether it's drinking a ton of water all day on Sundays, like I talked about in my 5 vocal tips video, or just making sure that you're eating. Nourishment is a huge part of Sundays, and making sure that you are taking care of yourself so that you can take care of others. You know, I pack my breakfast. My band, you know, they kind of make fun of me at this point because they know I bring my oatmeal ready to cook at church, and I got 3 hard-boiled eggs. And that is my breakfast every single Sunday morning. We usually eat after the first service. Our first service is kind of early at 8 a.m. So we lead worship for that, and then we all have breakfast together in the green room. And they know that's my breakfast. They get breakfast burritos. We bring in a bunch of burritos for all the volunteers, so lucky them. And I'll have some bars kind of later on in the day, some RX bars or paleo bars, you know, to help to sustain me throughout all 3 services. But even if you have one service, you need to make sure that you are eating and that you're well nourished so that you can lead well and you're not passing out, and you can think straight and use your brain and use your body to lead and to glorify the Lord. If you watch my vocal tips video, hydration is a huge part of it as well. Drinking water all day on Sunday to make sure that you are vocally strong. Yeah, it's really important to stay nourished throughout the day. Number 5, the final thing, is fellowship. Now, when I say fellowship, I'm talking about fellowship with your band and fellowship with your church. In between services, before and after services, try, if you can, if you have time, to make yourself available to the church and just to be present, to be available, to talk to, try to connect with some people. I have seen that this goes a long way in helping to lead the people. When you actually know the people that you're leading, there's a really special connection there, and it almost makes your leadership more valid and more effective. Don't be a recluse. Don't lock yourself away in your office or in the green room. Try to make yourself available, hang out with the church. And then on the band side, try to hang out with your band too. This is a chance for you to build relationships with your team members and to be friends with them. It really should be like, hey, we're friends first, and then we also do music on Sundays, and that's pretty cool. But almost let the ministry, let the music be an excuse to hang out. I actually stole that from a friend of mine, Alex, I love you, in Miami. Now I apply that same concept to my Sundays. In between services or, during services, it's not a bad thing to hang out in the green room and just to chat with your team and to, see how they're doing. And that's a great connection point. It's almost like a little band small group that you have each and every Sunday. So I think fellowship, both with your band and with your church, is a really important thing to implement each and every Sunday. So those are my 5 top things, guys. The 5 things that I consider to be super crucial to pulling off a great Sunday. I hope that this list helps you guys to have really well executed Sundays. If there are things that you think I'm missing, I would love to hear from you guys. Comment down below. Give me what you think are your top things for Sundays, or give me one thing that you're like, man, I do this every Sunday and this is what gets me through Sunday mornings. This is what gets me through worship. This is what really helps me out. And wherever you guys are, whatever you're doing, I hope that you are just getting super praisy. And you know what? If you're watching this video, that means that you're in the praisy club, all right? You made it. You're in. Start getting praisy wherever you are. Begin the praisiness. I'll see you in the next video.